You are watching the Dallas Cowboys Report. I am Tom Downey here with the Mailbag, done live, part of our live shows on Thursdays. Of course, the final live show before camp, but we have them every single week. A super chat to begin today's show. More sacks, Williams, Armstrong, or Fowler. More yards, Tolbert, Washington, or Schultz. More touchdowns, Dak or Wentz. Clearly Dak. Wentz is not good. Carson Wentz is it'll be different this year guy. It's not going to be any different. More yards, Schultz, Tolbert, Washington. Sacks, I'm going to go, it's a tough one. I think Armstrong will play more, but I think because he's the one I trust more as a run stopper, I'm going to go Williams, Armstrong, Fowler in that order, and I kind of hope that's the order given their level of investment from the organization. From Randy, a $5 super chat. Tom, do you see the Cowboys making the NFC Championship game? I want to say yes, but if I am being honest here, are they better than Green Bay? No. Are they better than the Tampa Bay Buccaneers? No. Are they better than the Rams? Probably not. They just won a title. So they can make a run, but no, I would not bet on that at this point. Another one from Randy, $5. If the Cowboys want to be taken serious, they need to trade for Deebo or Metcalf. I do think that helps. I also know this. I don't think the Cowboys are going to do that unless they get through part of training camp here in the end and they look at the receiving corps and go, oh, we're in trouble. Gallup is injured or he's slow to recover, which doesn't seem to be the case. A situation involving, Washington sucks or Tolbert's bad. If they get desperate, I could see them making a push. But I also don't think those teams, the Niners and the Seahawks, want to trade away Deebo or Metcalf at this point. From Cowboys for Lifer, will Dallas trade for a cheaper wide receiver like Darius Slayton or Denzel Mims instead of Deebo or DK? I think that's a bit more plausible. Again, those guys don't bring you much special teams value that causes some problems. I think Denzel Mims could be cut, by the way. I actually like the idea of Slayton. Tough to see an intra-division trade. Those aren't that common, but the Giants and Cowboys have a good working relationship, actually. So do the Cowboys and Eagles, frankly. Slayton brings you speed. I wouldn't mind Darius Slayton, especially if you don't trust Washington or want Tolbert to be a pure slot guy. I could be down with that. I also know it's the Cowboys. I no longer expect moves to get done. So what do you think when it comes to a receiver trade? We did like 3 questions in a row on that one. Will the Cowboys trade for a wide receiver? Y for yes or N for no? Make your predictions. Will it happen? This is the pinned comment on today's video. The ad break comes on YouTube. Take advantage of it. Head down there and let me know. A super chat from Jay Elam. Why don't we just go get Julio and use him 1 year on a cheap deal? The reason why I think you would add a receiver is because you are concerned about your depth. And the big thing you want there is reliability. That's not Julio's game anymore. And if you're Julio, do you want to come to Dallas and potentially lose your job midway through the year if Tolbert and Gallup get healthy? I'm not sure that you do. So I'm down, 1 year cheap deal. Let's ride. But I do think teams are very concerned right now about Julio's injury history. From Zeno saying, why do so many people hate on Dak versus everyone else? From a Cowboys fan perspective, he's not Tony Romo, and he's never going to be. There's always going to be some of those issues there. From a non-Cowboys fan perspective, he's the Cowboys quarterback, so therefore he is overhyped. The overarching theme, though, is draft status. If Dak Prescott was drafted second overall where Carson Wentz was, I think he would have a lot more benefit of the doubt. But because he wasn't drafted in the first 3 rounds, or especially in round 1, and he hasn't won a title yet, there's always that preconceived level of talent bias. It was wrong. He should have gone earlier, but draft status has a very big impact on how you are generally viewed across the NFL. From Roger Moore, I think the defensive depth is better this year. I lean towards yes. Safety, absolutely. Although that's at least in terms of where they fit right now. Linebacker, probably not. You're a bit thin there, but you're also still mighty in the year, so I get it. Corner, I feel great about in terms of depth. Final on the defensive line. Edge, probably depth is fine there. I think relative to where we entered the year, last year, absolutely. End of the year, probably pretty similar there. From J-Buzz, who is better, LVE or Anthony Barr? Barr is definitely the bigger name, but purely in terms of how they played down the stretch last year, I think LVE kind of outperformed Anthony Barr. Barr's injuries history is real. We wrote that down on a video on Wednesday. Name brand, it's definitely Barr. I think career-wise, also Barr. Right this second, hot take maybe? I think I might take LVE. With that said, if I get Barr on a cheap deal, yes, I would also like to bring him in. The Cowboys Report is also on Rumble. Free and uncensored content. We have the sports. If you like politics, news, which I don't, they got you covered there too. Growing the platforms we got you use. That's what we're doing here at the Cowboys Report. We're trying to grow, continue to build the Cowboys Report Chat Sports empire. Give us a follow for free at rumble.com/CowboysTV. From Rashard Lee. Think Dak is better than Romo. What do we mean by Romo? Do we mean peak Romo? Do we mean peak Dak? Do we mean exactly right this second? I think where they were at relative in their careers. Romo didn't become peak prime Romo until the end. Unfortunately, when his bat gave out. If you could promise me a healthy 2015, 2014 Romo, God, I think I'd take him. But first couple years of their career, Dak is ahead of where Tony was. From John Tucker, you see TJ Vasher making his way up to wide receiver 3 with Gallup out. I'd be surprised, but I wouldn't rule it out. Obviously, you've got Lamb as receiver 1. You're hoping it's Tolbert 2 with Gallup out and Washington 3. I am not sold on James Washington. I will say this. I think Vasher has his number one path is just to make the team. He hasn't done anything in his NFL career. He brings you size the Cowboys don't have at the roster in terms of height. He's not physical enough as I want him to be. Vasher's step 1 is just make the team. I do think that saying can he be receiver 3, at least as we sit before camp even begins, might be asking for a little bit too much from that perspective. Pedro Sandoval, this is a question for you and Jeremy. Now remember, Jeremy's out, family emergency. Sam is in. Who is y'all's favorite WWE superstar? Sam, do you want to go, or do you want me to go first?
I feel like this is a bad answer because a lot of people know. But Stone Cold Steve Austin is goated.
Okay.
And there's nothing you can say to change my mind.
The ones that I did briefly go through a phase of a couple months where I liked the WWE. Rey Mysterio's awesome because he wears the masks. Plenty of off-the-field issues, but I thought Jeff Hardy was cool too. I think I just did a bunch of flips and shit.
A guy that deserved more love was Macho Man Randy Savage. In his time, he deserved more love.
Okay,
he's getting a little bit more.
My uncles
realizing his greatness.
My uncles are big WWE guys, so I know who the Macho Man is, and he got plenty of love at least recently. Now, if you like our Cowboys mailbags, normally focused with questions on the Dallas Cowboys, but producer Sam couldn't resist today. If you enjoy them, then subscribe. YouTube.com/CowboysTV. Hit that big red button and join us for free videos every single day. Where else but right here on the Dallas Cowboys Report by Chat Sports. From Zeno saying, forgetting no Super Bowl, is Romo a Hall of Famer? I assume it meant yes there. You can't really distinguish the lack of Super Bowl title. Ignoring Super Bowls, is he more deserving than Eli Manning? Absolutely. But he's not. So, that's not how it works. I'll say this. Romo's not getting in. Unless he gets in for his broadcasting stuff, he's simply not a Hall of Famer. That's just not how it's going to go down in the end. DeLunatic. Will the Cowboys in 2022 be led by our defense? It's funny, the Cowboys were the number 1 ranked offense last year, and we're all correctly I don't know about that one. Because they didn't close the year well. You need the defense to not regress too much, but you also need your offense to help you. So you need your play caller to do a better job, offensive line to do a better job. I think from a just overall confidence perspective, don't we feel better about the defense than the offense right now? It's kind of weird, right? From Joseph Rodriguez, should the Cowboys draft Eric Gray next year if we let go of Tony Pollard? Is Eric Gray going to play more this year? Sam, you are an Oklahoma fan. Is he going to be involved? Because I thought Eric Gray, transferring from Tennessee, was going to be a top 5 back in college football last year. And then he wasn't remotely. Does he fight that this year with
I wasn't
going to
go that far just because Kennedy Brooks, it was his 3rd year in Lincoln Riley's system. Now that loser's gone. I'm talking about Lincoln Riley, not Kennedy Brooks. This is Eric Gray's time to shine. He's going to be the top back there. Marcus Major will get some touches, but he never really lived up to the hype. A couple young freshmen making noise for OU, but Eric Gray's the top dog now.
I thought Gray was going to be a great transfer from Tennessee. It ended up being Ty Chandler, who was better than him in college football last year, which I was not ready for. So if he plays like I think he can, sure. I got to see it first, though. From JT the Pipe Layer, who would you rather have as coach, Dan Quinn or Sean Payton? I'm going DQ. This is going to be the conversation all offseason long. Sean Payton, Dan Quinn, Sean Payton. Who gets hired if the Cowboys fire McCarthy? Those two are your favorites, early favorites for the job. Eggs and Ham, okay. Trade for Devin Bush. I think if you'd asked this a year ago, pre-injury, everyone would love Devin Bush. He was bad last year for Pittsburgh. He did not play very well. The coverage numbers went down, and coming off the injury, Bush looked like he just straight up lacked confidence. And that's an issue because he's a fast player, but if you're not playing fast, things do not tend to go your way. He's got to bounce back or else no one's going to have much interest in him. Name a player now who you want to trade for. I'd say please keep it realistic, but we know how things tend to go in the end. Some super chat shout-outs for Boondock Saints. We did get past Boondock Saint. We got past the $69 amount, so shots coming up after today's live show wraps up. $5 and $10 from Boondock Saint, the MVP of today's show. Back to the questions from Jay Buzz. Would Sean Payton change the offense if hired? I mean, I don't. It's funny because if you had asked me, would Mike McCarthy change the offense? I would have said yes, and they kind of didn't that much. So if you're hiring Sean Payton, I would assume he's making the offense his. Now, it's not a wildly different, like you're going from like an air raid, Texas Tech offense to Iowa's ground and pound offense, but yeah, the offense would be different. And, most importantly, I think it would be for the better if you hired Sean Payton offensively. From Vince, is there a realistic trajectory would you like to spend one or more first-round picks? I mean, if DK Metcalf were available or Deebo, I would have interest there. I don't think any of the other available guys, though, are going to necessarily be someone who you're looking for as a true first-round value. So, probably not. And in general, I don't like trading my first-round pick anyway. So, I'd probably pass on those particular options in the end. But it's a good question, Vince, in terms of hypothetical trades for the Cowboys. John Butler, we'll make this last one here. Is Kelvin Joseph getting suspended? Who knows? It's the NFL. Very possible. I will say the NFL likes to take their time. They might wait for the legal stuff to get played out. He is subject to a suspension, to discipline, etc. And I think he will at some point, but doesn't mean he ends up actually. But it is very much a wait-and-see time frame.